if we want to get started, Brian, if that's okay, would you mind, before we get started on anything else, if everybody would mind just introducing themselves for me and telling me your company and organization that you're representing, would be great. I'm pretty sure I know all of you, but I think it would be a good exercise for me. So start with you, Mayor.
Good morning. I'm Dave Gaddis, Mayor of Bel Air Beach and delegate for the Big C.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Mike Williams, Innisbrook Resort.
Madam Chair, Copley Gertis, City Councilman for the City of St. Petersburg.
Amanda Coffey, Assistant County Attorney.
And Brian Lilak, President and CEO, Visit St. Pete Clearwater.
Russ Kimball, Sheraton Sand Key, Clearwater Beach.
Brian Unk Sr., Mayor of the City of Clearwater.
Doreen Moore, TRS Travel Resort Services, Vacation Rentals throughout Pinellas County.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Chuck Prather, the Birchwood in downtown St. Petersburg, and also Teak out at the pier.
Good morning, Clyde Smith, Bilmar Beach Resort, Treasure Island.
Good morning, Phil Henderson, Starlight Cruises, South Pasadena, Madeira Beach, and Clearwater Beach.
Well, it's good to have you all here, and I'm actually really excited to be here. So if we want to move on, I guess we just need to, I don't have too many comments because, darn, I'm new. But I really am excited about this year and really learning more about the inner workings of the TDC. The Board of County Commissioners, if you don't serve as chair, you don't get to learn about the inner workings of this kind of arm of the county. And, you know, the one thing I would like to do is change that so that the next person that's coming in, my vice chair, who's going to be chair next year, is going to have the same disadvantages I have, is that they don't have the inner workings. So I've got a couple ideas in mind about what we can do to ensure that the next person come in is hitting the ground running and understands it and doesn't have a learning curve. So, so Brian and I are going to be working on that, and we'll fill you in as that goes. But other than that, I think we're looking for an approval of the minutes. If you've all read them.
Second.
Great, we have a motion and a second. Second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. And then we are open for public comment. Do we have the same time frames? Okay, is there anyone here for public comment? I don't see anyone here for public comment. Great, we can move on to that, and then we can move on to presentations. And the first one up, we have PI, the airport presentation, Jeff Klaus.
Morning, everyone. I think Happy New Year is still appropriate as well.
It's January.
It's January. So we'll jump right into this, try to warm everybody up with some data and statistics. So a quick recap of 2023, some accomplishments and marketing initiatives that we've been doing at PI. We'll go back a bit and take a look at some passenger statistics. Prior to the pandemic, I think most of you know we were just on a fantastic ride. We were seeing year-over-year increases, phenomenal numbers, and then, of course, the pandemic hit. But the fortunate news, I think all of us in this room know, the destination along with the airport was one of the quickest to recover. So 22, we saw 2.445 million passengers go through the airport. And now in 2023, which we have a little teaser on there, we're going to reveal on January 23rd, and we'll explain why here in a moment. We only need 146,179 passengers to set an all-time new record, and 200,259 passengers to reach 2.5 million, which would be the first time in the history of the airport to ever see that many passengers go through it. So phenomenal growth again in this year, and that will represent a pretty nice increase. So 2022 was up 20%, a whopping, as we were recovering out of the pandemic from 2021. In 2023, for those of you who remember last year, I predicted that we'd probably be up, slightly, so 2 to 3% in 2023. So again, we'll release that data at a later time. We don't have all the airline reportings. So 6 record-breaking months in 2023. Those record-breaking months were January, June, July, September, October, and November. July of 2023 was our biggest month in our history. So again, you take a look at the recap of 2023, fantastic year for us in the airport and certainly the destination. We've already announced 1 new destination for a total of 62 nonstops coming up. That is Allegiant flying to Bismarck starting in May 15th. Now, not exciting for us because I don't think a lot of people really have a desire to go to Bismarck, but when I speak to the airport director in Bismarck, who's a friend of mine, he's ecstatic. He's been telling me that the temperatures are minus 20, wind chill of minus 50. So when you live in that climate, to come to our destination, experience our warmer weather and the beaches, anything is better than that. So again, we're excited to bring that on. That certainly should be a home run. There is no other existing nonstop service between the destinations, and has never happened in the history of air service. For those of you who are around on the board, we had Scott D'Angelo come in and give you a presentation and overview. He's the Allegiant Executive Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer with Allegiant Airlines, again, back in October. So he gave you a high-level overview of Allegiant and the airline and how they're doing and their ambitious goals looking forward. They're adding a significant amount of Boeing aircraft, not the ones that have been affected that you're reading about here recently in the news, the MAX 9s, but instead MAX 8s and MAX 7s. And then he also shared with you that their plans to go international. So all exciting news on that front. I think that a lot of you enjoyed that presentation, got a chance to ask him questions. So this particular slide, I think, is of most importance, at least to you all and to Visit St. Pete Clearwater. And that is, where do the passengers who come in via Allegiant originate from? As you can see, again, this isn't really an apples-to-apples comparison because not all of these destinations have the same level of service. Some of these destinations have daily, if not multiple daily, depending on time of year, service. But the top one continues to be Asheville, North Carolina, followed by Knoxville, Cincinnati, Grand Rapids, Allentown, Indianapolis, Flint, Concord, Springfield, and you can go down the list. So the reason I share this with you all and also share this with Chambers, as they ask me from time to time, is so that when you're looking to place marketing and working closely with BVK, your marketing agency, you know what markets to target, or at least which ones are being mostly or the most capacity we're seeing in and out of PIE. So again, this is an ongoing list that we keep track of, obviously supply it to you at will, and certainly want to take stock and note in which destinations have the most travelers from. Real quickly, just kind of an overview of our revenue for 2023. The first one kind of might be alarming if you didn't understand the backstory to it, which I'll explain. Rental car revenue, we actually collected about 7.9% less in fiscal year 23 than we did in 22. Reason being is that when the pandemic was occurring and capacity was tight, if you rented any cars, you noticed that the rental rate was exorbitantly high, if not the highest it's ever been in its history. Well, capacity's come back. The supply isn't as tight as what it once was. So that as people rent cars, the rate is much more affordable. And so when we're looking at a per car rental basis, it's not that they were renting less cars, it just meant that they were paying less rate. Paid parking revenue was up significantly, 10.9%. Food and beverage, 18.9%. News and gifts, 1.6%. Ground transportation, which now comprises of taxis, Uber, Lyft, Turo, which maybe some of you have used, and courtesy shuttles, 11.3%. So again, don't focus so much on the rental car in terms of how much revenue was collected. Still, people were renting cars. We all know that. Or they were getting other ground transportation, as the other number indicates. So the overall revenues were up a strong 2% in 23 versus 22.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jackie Hartnett. I'm the president of Starmark, and we're the agency that supports PIE. I want to share with you today some of the creative that's running to increase our local brand awareness. And I think you'll see that this is fun. We're fortunate to have a great airport code that we can take advantage of. So We're playing off the association of your favorite dessert. Low fares are the cherry on the top, baked into every nonstop flight with a big slice of ease. Pi has an easy route, all with the finishing line to travel is sweeter with Pi. Let me click, Jeff, you click. We're a team.
Yep.
We also updated the out-of-home boards that surround the airport with similar messages. Travel sweeter with Pi up there at the top. We're ready for the 4th of July, as American as apple pie. As Jeff mentioned, there's multiple ways to get to the airport now, so get a ride of Pi and fly, and then reminding everyone that we are the low fare with nonstop flights. Very important to our mix is our organic messaging, and we've gained traction in all of our channels, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We're posting things that make travel easier at the airport. So tips and holiday reminders and airport announcements so that they understand what's happening with weather or parking, etc. And then we also are running some paid advertising. We're excited at a very low cost and a very high return. We reached over almost 7 million individual users with almost 20 million impressions and 30,000 folks that were clicking through. Our click-through rate is 0.15, and that's 2 times higher than the industry average. And again, all using the same messaging that everyone loves Pi, so strong recognition to get the word out. Some fun stuff. And here's a clip of a video we debuted. This is always where we cross our fingers it plays, right? On the click.
I think Pete in the back.
Welcome to St. Pete Clearwater International Airport. PIE. Your hometown airport has sweetness in the name. Because that's how travel should be. And you know what goes great with Pi? Sweet getaways from Tampa Bay to more than 60 destinations across the U.S. and Canada, all nonstop with low fares. Every experience at Pi comes with a side of fun. A dash of local culture. A spoonful of local flavors. And welcome surprises. There's a better way to get away. So plan your next escape through Pi. And see how sweet it is. Pi. Sweet travels.
Our supporter there traveling with us.
Yeah, so that was a commercial, as Jackie was saying. We created that in '23. We use that in social for people who have never flown through the airport so that they're somewhat familiar with not only who we are, but the ease and convenience of traveling through the airport. You might have caught a celebrity, if you will, a local celebrity that we utilized, Paul Tuttle Sr., who's with Orange County Choppers. Certainly has the business OCC Roadhouse and Museum down on 49th Street. He's been an excellent influencer and a huge asset for us. And a lot of people are familiar with who he is and the work that he's done on TV. And so, again, been just a fantastic supporter and a user of Pi almost on a monthly basis to go to and from New York.
Hometown spirit. So we're super excited. Next week is National Pi Day on the 23rd, and we're going to have our first celebration of it. We're going to be giving out free Pi to folks who are at the airport, and we might have some of that for you all this morning. If you haven't had breakfast yet, it's coming your way. Allegiant partnered with us and is going to be giving away 2 tickets, and we're going to be debuting a new art installation we'll show you in just a second. But as Jeff said, we're partnering with Paul again, and he'll be on hand. So we're super excited. You should all plan to come out that morning. It starts at 9 a.m., right?
Yeah. Along with the Allegiant tickets, Wyndham was kind enough, too, to offer us a couple nights stay as well. So fantastic prize for whoever ends up becoming the winner.
Yeah. So this is a rendering of our new art installation that's going to debut that day in the baggage claim area. Dean Arscott and the Santastic team are creating this, and it's 11 tons of sand. So that's going to be fun and logistically fun for Jeff and the team at the airport. But it will be on display through the spring. So again, reminding folks of our nonstop flights, our partnership with the St. Pete CVB team and with Allegiant. So we're super excited to continue the marketing operations efforts to support the operating goals and keep pie hot in 2024. Any more pie-isms?
So that's all we've got for you today. If there's any questions, and there's a lot of crazy things happening in the industry. I know that you've been reading about and seeing issues with Boeing, issues with mergers. Can address whatever you'd like to talk about today.
Anybody have any questions? Mike?
Thank you so much, Madam Chair.
Ross, you have...
Jeff, always a great presentation. Thank you for the update. Jackie, thank you as well. You know, certainly you've got great distribution through Allegiant and these smaller cities. Are there destinations or inbound cities that you're targeting that you'd like to get service from, direct service into PI? And if so, what are those cities?
Well, we always have a running list. I think I shared this with you last year of about 20 to 40 cities that are opportunities that we put in front of not just Allegiant, but all airlines. And those cities, by and large, are mostly secondary markets because there is so much nonstop service from Tampa International to those major airports that the margins are very slim. And the operation itself is not as seamless as what it is when you fly in and out of those secondary, easy, small airports. So, you know, it's very critical to talk about margins, especially right now. As we all know, costs are rising everywhere we look. So when we talk with airlines, again, that's what they want to hear. They want to hear home runs, not, well, maybe, you know, this could be successful. So again, by and large, those markets are smaller secondary markets as opposed to going into major airports because you got to pitch what makes sense.
As a follow-up, do you have gate capacity to handle more inbound flights?
We do. I mean, you know, as we continue to grow, yes, certainly, you know, there are constraints and, you know, I know the airport director has shared with at least the board that were efforts made towards expansion of the terminal. And so that will be forthcoming in terms of what the design and the ultimate build will look like. But yes, we are engaging with those folks to go ahead and expand the facilities, for lack of better words.
Great. And just a final comment, Brian, I think that, you know, our hotel sales staff as well as the sales staff from VSPC could certainly assist, you know, Jeff in his efforts in soliciting, and as they're out speaking with clients at trade shows or industry events around the country, that we trumpet the good news that we have of our own airport here in Pinellas County, and really help his efforts. So.
Yeah, I'll just chime in and say, you know, I've been with the airport almost 24 years now, and we've worked very closely with VSPC since my beginning at the airport, and we've been arm in arm in some crazy places, some places much colder than it was this morning, not only selling the destination, but certainly educating them about the airport and the ease and convenience of getting through the airport. So we definitely have worked in tandem, as I shared with you, that one slide that showed, you know, the popularity of destinations that we have coming in and out. So as they do marketing plans and say to me, hey, listen, we've got some funds here, you know, could Allegiant use some help here? Or vice versa, where Allegiant comes to us. We have quarterly meetings, if you will, virtual meetings with Allegiant and their stakeholders and VSPC to find out and ask that very question. Is there a market that you see opportunity to increase your service in, or is there a market that you see could use some bolstering? And so if they come back to us and say, hey, yeah, you know, this time of year is a little soft, certainly spring break, summertime, yeah, no problem, or wintertime, but this time of year, yeah, if you could help us out a bit, we greatly appreciate it. And then we work together and say, well, what does that look like? Is that social? Is it print? You know, what type of ads and how do we collaborate?
Well, I think that, Jackie, you know, you can work closely with our agency to share data, share the research to find out, are there new markets that we should be pursuing? And Jeff, I know you won't be bashful about asking for our help anytime you need it.
Well, appreciate it. And like I said, it's been a wonderful partnership over the years. And as we get opportunities, we certainly meet with Brian, and I'm sure he distributes that information, or he will be distributing it with you in terms of certain carriers and what their desires are when they want to come into a market. Because certainly they need all the help they can get. Their margins are extremely thin right now, especially in the airline industry.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Russ, I know you had a question.
Hey, Russ. Yes, sir. No, but that's okay.
But we can hear
We
you.
can hear you, Russ. No, I mean, I certainly don't, Russ. I mean, we say Punta Gorda like it's just down the road, but we all know it's more than just down the road. And it's not something that's being marketed so much for travelers to fly through to get to that at PIE, but more since they fly into Punta Gorda, since they have service to Sarasota. It's more for those travelers than it is for anybody who would fly in through our airport. So I think you can put your kind of concerns to bed, because it's very unlikely. Again, it's an hour and a half on a good day. We all know how bad 75 can be, and I think most locals know how bad 75 can be, and tourists certainly know how bad 75 can be. So 75 isn't an easy drive down there to jump into what would be their new Sunseeker property, as you're alluding to. But so again, the focus is always still going to be on our properties that they have partners and relationships and contracts with here still in Pinellas County. Competition-wise, I think every airport in Florida is a competitor. You're seeing the likes of airlines flying into Melbourne, into a Lakeland, So airports that typically didn't have service in the past now all of a sudden are emerging as opportunities. And I go back to what I said before. It's because those margins are so slim that airlines are looking to save money every which way they can. And certainly plays well for us because we are certainly one of the lowest cost airports in the state of Florida. Allegiant, it continues to be Orlando Sanford. Yep, just a margin, but we are number 3. So Orlando Sanford, Las Vegas is number 2, and St. Pete Clearwater is number 3. And that vacillates back and forth because at times of the year we surpass Las Vegas for number 2. So continue to keep our fingers crossed that we can continue growing at that rate. And when international comes into play, Russ, then we might surpass certainly Las Vegas. And who knows, maybe Orlando Sanford will take over number 1.
It seems like Orlando would be the natural one as number 1.
Yep.
But what about some other ones in South Florida or whatever?
Well, it's amazing. They're in pretty much almost every airport within Florida. Yeah, number of passengers. And I'd have to get you the exact details as to where the ranking is. And that was something that, I don't have it out tip of my tongue, but it's something that Scott D'Angelo did share with you guys back in October. But I'll be happy to provide you that presentation again. Yeah, be glad to do that. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
Chuck?
Jeff, thank you very much. We are so thrilled to have.
Chuck, is your mic not working either? Mine's.
We can hear you.
I use my booming voice for this. So we're thrilled with Allegiant. Outstanding partner, domestic. They bring so many here. But can you share a little bit about the Canadian? We used to be the gateway at PI, and maybe we still are, but we haven't talked about that a lot.
Sure. Last year at this time, I shared with you that there could be some potential mergers. Little did I know at that time that we'd be the target of those mergers. So WestJet had purchased Sunwing some years ago, And within the WestJet brand, they also had a low-cost carrier, ULCC if you will, entitled Swoop. So as they had purchased Sunwing, they had kind of brought them under their wing, pun intended, I guess, no pun intended, but then have decided pretty much to absorb their vacation side of the house, but not necessarily the airline side of the house, which is what we were seeing. We were seeing both components in and out of PIE. So since they were already flying into TPA, they kind of merged that into their fold of flying into TPA. And then unfortunately, the pilots of the WestJet group had a vote to dissolve the low-cost carrier Swoop. And so we had heard mixed messages too as to the timing of that happening. Some thought 24, 25, but instead the vote was to immediately dissolve that, which was October of 23. Interesting dynamic in that reduces the number of low-fare carriers and number of airlines overall that Canadians have to choose from, which ultimately leads to what I said last year, and that is fare increases. And that is, I think, the point that the Department of Justice was making yesterday and not approving the merger between JetBlue and Spirit, because they were not approving it on the basis of, by eliminating a low-cost carrier like Spirit, ultimately that will increase the fares for the consumer. And so, again, it's one government taking a side and a view versus another government. And so, unfortunately, like I said, we were the target of that. We did try to then talk to other Canadian carriers, but that takes time. So we did share with them the success that we've had over the years, as you alluded to, and then also the recent success that we had with Swoop and also Sunwing. I think that, you know, it's just a matter of time and we'll get that Canadian service back, but I just can't make it happen overnight. So we do educate them, and unfortunately these decisions, it's interesting, and a lot of us in this room have had these things happen. When we meet with planners, that isn't necessarily the decision makers. So when we meet with the planners on their level and convince them and educate them as to the advantages and benefits of flying into PIE, that doesn't necessarily, you know, mean the result will be that that's the ultimate decision, because there's higher ups that make their decisions for whatever reason the case may be. So again, all we can do is continue to get out there, meet with the planners, educate them, move up to the next level, get to those higher level people, try to convince them too of our success and why the advantages are of flying into PIE.
And as a follow-up, does Allegiant, they're talking about international as their next hop, are any of those international planned Canada destinations?
Not Canada, no. Specifically Mexico was their first one that they had talked about in October. And again, that is in the hands of the DOT. All the route filings have been submitted, which is a very thick packet of every possible route filing that could possibly be flown between Allegiant and their partner Viva Aerobus. And so to show you that spaghetti map would be mind-boggling. But you have to disclose every potential route that you would be flying. So what we're waiting on now is basically the DOT to review that packet and to say, okay, this is fine with us, and you know, this is approved. And so hopefully, fingers crossed, something in 24 will emerge from that.
Any other questions? No? Well, thank you so much. I truly appreciate your presentation.
We got a little pie for you again.
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
we
special
don't
treat.
expect you to eat it here, but it's up to you.
Well, we all get sweet treats then. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Absolutely sugar-free. All part of the January campaign.
Well, thank you. Ah, my favorite. Thank you again. And we certainly appreciate the pie. Next up, we have David Warner with Creative Pinellas.
Good morning. Really a pleasure to be here. As has been said, I'm the president of the board of Creative Pinellas, the county's local arts agency. And I've been on the board since 2018. I've been board president for the last 3 years. And first of all, I need to thank the BOCC, VSPC, and the TDC for the continued support. I know all the acronyms now. It took me maybe 8 years, but for your continued support of Creative Pinellas's efforts to establish Pinellas as the arts coast, to keep that brand alive in the idea of people who would be visitors, of the great cultural resources we have here. I also have had the pleasure over the last 5 or 6 months of serving as the chair of the CEO search committee. Because as you know, Barbara St. Clair, the brilliant Barbara St. Clair, has recently retired. And we, with the 10-member search committee made up of board members and community members, 2 of whom are in the room here, if I can point out Doreen Moore and Kevin Knudsen, with the help of the cultural planning firm Arts, there's more acronyms, Arts Planning Group, a search firm, Arts Planning Group, helped us, and they did a national search. And they brought us some excellent candidates, and it turned out that the best candidate was right here among us. And that's who I'm here to introduce to you today, the successor to Barbara St. Clair, and who will be beginning as CEO on Monday, is Margaret Murray, who is here with us, and I'll let her say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. I am so excited to be here. I've worked with many of you on our ongoing cultural plan for the entire Pinellas County, and I look forward to continuing the work that Barbara and the Creative Pinellas team have done in making sure that your visitors, your communities, and the businesses that everyone here supports can continue to experience the arts and cultural offerings that this community has to offer. I did want to let you know that there are a few events coming up that are specifically related to our cultural planning activities. January 29th through February 1st, the cultural planning firm will be on site conducting interviews. I think we have some already scheduled with a few of you. We'll also be holding 2 artist focus groups so that we can hear from artists about their successes and their aspirations for the future of Pinellas County. We'll also be meeting with cultural sector leaders and arts leaders and arts organizations. And then in April, we will be holding a series of community outreach events throughout the county. We'll be holding one North, Mid, and South County. So I will be reaching out to everyone, inviting you to attend those events and making sure that if there are people who you think are invested in this or should be invested in this effort, that we make sure they're invited. So thank you again. I'm really thrilled to be here and look forward to working with all of you for the next long period of time.
Well, thank you and welcome. Does anyone have any questions? No? Well, we're really excited about working with you, and I think it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful adventure.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you. So next up, we have Destination Metrics with Eddie Kirsch.
Good morning and Happy New Year. Happy to see everyone here in 2024. So just to kind of get started, we'll jump straight into our tourism development tax collections for the month of November. So what I've done here is kind of laid out the first 6 months, putting fiscal year 2023 numbers. So we'll have kind of a first half of the year to look at as we go along. As noted, we had a pretty sharp decrease in October. We had a sort of an abnormal October season in 2022. due to Hurricane Ian, where we saw a lot more visitation. We actually had a better than we expected November, where we were up about 2.5% or about $200,000 in TDT collections from last year. That came at a bit of a surprise. We kind of had expected, after seeing some really strong numbers the previous year, for us to be down a little bit. So this was kind of a welcome surprise, and we were even more confused because we see our STR data first. And so we could kind of see that there's a dip in occupancy, a pretty significant one. It first seemed. We do expect these numbers to change. This is sort of our first set of monthly data that we get to look at for how a previous month did. So we'll see these numbers change a little bit. I did want to kind of point out at the bottom of the slide the demand comparison and the supply comparison. And I think I pointed this out the last meeting, but this is a sort of a 5-year look at these overall trends. And you can kind of get a picture of where we are. You can see the gold line is the current calendar year up to, it's a 12-year look. And you can kind of see on the right side, again, our supply just kind of creaking up each year. Taking a look, kind of at a closer look of view of these things, I just wanted to point out really the first couple of months and what happened last year. So again, the gold line marks last year. The blue line represents from 2022 calendar year. So we saw basically our best year that we've ever seen in January. There's a little bit, pretty substantial difference between last year and the year before. And we kind of continued to have a really great year in February as well. I bring this up because I'm about to show you some forecast data, so I just wanted to have you guys have this sort of fresh in your mind in terms of what happened from last year. So what we're looking at here is kind of our quarterly forecast data from STR. Again, this is a guess, it's an estimate, and this is sort of what we, I guess are prepared to see. So our biggest dip in occupancy from last year looks like it could occur this month. Again, we had an outstanding January last year, so this could be kind of a normalization of this data. We continue to sort of see a decrease in February and a little bit of a decrease in March as well as April, and then in the later half of the year, we start to see these numbers flip. ADR, it's a little bit kind of more stable with not as much of a decrease. And then in RevPAR, we see, again, kind of that middle between occupancy and ADR. So we're seeing, again, more of a substantial growth year over year in the later half of the summer, but we're still sort of seeing a decrease year over year these first couple of months. When we're looking at our short-term rentals and what's happening in that market, again, it's pretty similar, a little bit more volatile. We're seeing a bigger change in this paid and owner occupancy, which represents the time that the unit was either occupied by the owner and taken off the market, or when it was occupied by someone who's paying to be there. When we're looking at kind of that forecast in a similar view, it kind of looks like we're seeing the rate for our vacation rentals stay pretty strong, but that occupancy number be below where it was, at least for the first part of this year. And then just jumping ahead to kind of our visitor profile, a few of the trends that we saw in November's data, our daily spend overtook for the overnight visitor was higher than the last year and the year before, so that's great information for us to see. A couple of things that we did notice, though, is that the average stay was on average a day shorter than it was the year before. And we're also seeing the decision time to travel for the overnight visitor shrink a little bit. So this is kind of a graph version of what this data looks like. Obviously, there's more information here to digest, but you can kind of see the points I just made on the far left corner. That decision time to travel is again lower than the past couple of years. We actually had a higher average daily spend compared to the past couple of years, but overall, nearly one fewer day that they stayed overnight. When we look at our day trip profile, there's a little bit of an anomaly in the data, it seems like, from November of 2022 and the decision time to travel. We can dig in a little bit more and figure out why that's at 57 days. I think the notable thing too, though, is that we're seeing really more of an older generation as our day trip visitor. And their daily spend is a little bit below where it was these past couple of years. Again, the day trip visitor is not who we actively market to, but it is, someone that we collect survey data on. That's all I had for the destination metrics. I got another report, in a little bit, but do you guys have any questions about this information?
Anybody have any questions?
Yes, please.
Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Eddie, as always, great report, good updates. A couple concerning trends that I'm seeing here. Certainly a softening in average rate during our most lucrative months of January through April, down year over year. And, when you combine that with RevPAR being down, with occupancy being down, and then looking at the visitor profile, the average daily spend is down almost 50% from 22. Looking at an average income down 20%. Are we just seeing a general softening?
I think we might be. I mean, we've seen pretty stubborn data in the state of the American traveler that the travel budgets are not, are not growing as much as maybe we had hoped or had thought after seeing a couple of positive months. December kind of took another, a little bit of a dip. I hate to, I don't really have a crystal ball, so I hate to say, what we can predict because, right now we can see that the numbers are softening, but I don't, it's been a little bit unpredictable these past couple of years. And with last year, we sort of had our great numbers in January and February. So I was trying to kind of give a bigger picture over more years to sort of see what that normal pattern looks like, and if last year's was still abnormal compared to what is typical for our destination. I don't know if I have a direct answer, though, to your question.
Well, listen, thank you. Clearly, we're seeing a softening, and I just wonder whether it would be wise to talk to our major hotel partners, find out how they're looking, and is there a tweak that we need to make to our marketing messages, to our sales efforts, to further align with what the major hotels are doing that can turn this around. The occupancy, we understand why that might drop a little bit, but the fact that rate is going down overall for the most lucrative time period, that's a concern, and I'm sure our hotel partners are working to alleviate that.
And Mr. Williams, if I can, we feel the same, and we're in the process right now of establishing the marketing committee that you all gave direction to at the end of last year. So we hope to have those players in place later this month and begin that marketing committee next month. And the intent of that is specifically what you said. We see what we're seeing in our data and our folks that we're talking to, but we want to know the boots on the ground, the properties, not only the large-scale properties, but also the smaller properties, as well as our attractions and different industry partners. So we want to see what they're seeing and make sure that we're all seeing the same thing and determine how we can align our efforts moving forward.
Yeah, being very nimble and enabling our marketing and sales efforts to pivot and change targets is critical to our success.
Doreen.
Thank you. A couple of comments, not necessarily questions, but maybe some feedback and tying in with what you're mentioning. On the paid owner occupancy, this is the short-term rental report, which is obviously near and dear to me. I'm seeing a lot of properties are in maintenance. There are properties that are basically not renting in terms of the overall structures, roofs and major repairs going on. And I think, so that number there about the fact that you mentioned owner occupancy, but also that they're doing work. So there's not as many available, and that I think is skewing that. The other thing for just thought process is Easter occurs on March 31st. And historically, in our market, short term, you are seeing that for bookings in terms of March and April. If it's later in April, that window spreads out further. So I just think that there's some fluctuations there that would make a difference. And then I have to say, for the beach properties, when we do have, and I've mentioned this before, when we've had our storm damage, we've got our dune restoration, we've got areas of the beach shut down, and we've got locations that can't access the beach for the dune restoration properties. That is affecting rates, it's affecting occupancy. As we go into the season and explain why their beachfront property is no longer accessing the beach. So just some input for consideration.
Chuck.
Thank you. Eddie, I appreciate it. It's always a lot of work to put this together. It's so much easier for us to digest in this new format that we've come up with, so thank you. I want to talk a little bit about the November overnight visitor profile, and what stands out to me, whether it's the folks that are visiting from out of town, overnight, or day trippers, it's still the same statistic, basically, and I'm at the top right hand, talking about generations. There's been a pretty significant shift here between boomers growing and Gen Xers shrinking. So is it that the economy's tightening for that segment of the market and they have less discretionary income, or is that Gen X tourist going to a different destination?
I think the Gen X visitor is smaller, obviously, in total population compared to the boomer generation or baby boomer generation. I don't know if the shortcoming is entirely from Gen X. There's been more of a delay in travel plans, I think, from millennial kind of generation. There was some data that came out the past couple of weeks, sort of surveying this population, as well as millennial and Gen Z and UK and Germany. And a couple of the takeaways were that millennials are still doing a lot of traveling to family and friends, or visiting family, and not quite doing as much leisure travel as they're kind of the next sort of bigger generation. We're looking at kind of so taking off my data hat for a second, putting on the marketing hat, we're looking at different reasons or where that lack of interest could be. And it's interesting because I'll later present some website information, website findings, and we've been trying to figure out, okay, well, from a website traffic standpoint, is there a shortfall in that? And it's interesting because we've seen some really great website traffic at the same time that we're kind of seeing this decrease a little bit in occupancy, and we're starting to see traffic from places like Canada, specifically Quebec, and the Northeast really kind of grow quite a bit. So again, it's still trying to make a full picture out of all these different data points is a little bit of a struggle, but I don't know that the Gen X is visiting. I mean, it's clear on the screen that it appears to be that way. I just don't know if that sample is big enough to say, okay, it's that whole generation is not visiting the same way that that the baby boomer generation is, I think we would want to take a few months of data to sort of look at those trends.
Thank you. And then to follow up, from you and Katie's marketing standpoint, whether it's traditional or digital, do you, with this greater boomer visitor, do you spend more money trying now to attract that tourist, or do you try to spend more on Gen X to put those tourists back in market?
That's a little tough to answer. From a digital perspective, we target a lot of it is based on context. So, you know, what is this person searching for, and sort of who are they? The age factor of it isn't really, we're not blocking ourselves from saying we're only going to target the millennial visitor. The age range for our digital targeting is, I believe, in the 20s to the 60s, 70s. So it's a pretty wide range in terms of that. That's not always something we sort of think about, but it is something we could kind of maybe try to dive into our data a little bit more and see if there's anything that we can take away.
Thanks, Eddie.
Mike, you have another question?
Yeah, just one follow-up, Eddie. You have provided in the past an update on development, new hotel development that's coming in.
Correct.
Can we get that next month?
Absolutely.
And, you know, Russ, you had a great point earlier. The new resort, that Monster that's opening up south of us, it would be interesting to look certainly within the greater Tampa Bay area, but also statewide, because that could have dramatic impact on what happens here. The more data we can get on new development and when it's coming and how large it is would help.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
All right.
Russ, you have a question?
Yeah, Mike, I'm going to follow up on you just a little bit more. And I think I've asked this question before. As we do this hotel industry committee and everything, and we're going to search on what they think and what's going on, hoteliers and all can talk to you directly and give you information that you can compile, but we can't talk to each other necessarily on occupancy and rate. So I think it's important that you move on that, but also I think go to Innsbruck and talk about group business. It's 60% of my business this month. And at 40 degrees, who else are you going to get? And so it's so important. Are we really getting the groups that we were getting? Is it increase or decrease? Are we getting group sports? Are we doing more in sports or not? And those things that are big counts for the year, I think we really need to get into looking at specifics. And it's good to know on the different Gen X and Gen Zs and everything too, but they're also the meeting planner, the meeting participant. So we need to get into the specific of what we can do to increase it. I can tell you, at our hotel, we're pushing group because that's what we think it is this year and everything to try and get through. And I think those are the things that we got to look at too. And so if we can help get some of that information, Eddie, into what you're telling us, I think it's going to be important and we need it.
Here, agreed.
Any other comments on this? So since a lot of this is overlapping with the marketing, Eddie, if you wouldn't mind, and Christine, if you don't mind, if I switch the two of you, because it just seems like it'd be a natural fit to put this marketing in. You're kind of going over both lines anyway, so guys in the back, I'm going to switch you up and we're going to go to the marketing performance, and we're going to then go to shuffleboard, if that's okay. Wonderful, they got it queued up, and if you don't mind, Eddie, I just think it was a natural fit to put together. Copley, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was just going to make a comment if that's okay, Chair.
Oh, sure, I'm sorry, I missed
Thank you. No, that's fine. Thank you, Madam Chair. I just thought I would provide a little bit of perspective because I feel like I'm not necessarily in the county, but my family and I are a target, family of four, dual household income. And when I look at this makes complete sense to me based on how I feel the market is. 2 years ago, we were staying a night longer because frankly, it was a little less expensive to do so. But I spend more during the day. We just got back from a 10-day vacation. I spend more during the day because we stay one day shorter. And so from a market perspective, this makes complete sense to me. I think all of the comments about marketing and getting feedback from our hoteliers across the county makes complete sense. But I don't want to quickly over-rotate just because of market conditions, because I think we're doing a lot of things right. And we certainly want to be nimble, and I totally agree with all of those things. But from a perspective of this is my life, essentially, with a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old, trying to create memories and things as a family, this makes complete sense to me from dollars spent. And so I just figured I would provide some context. Also, the boomer part makes sense to me. During COVID, more babies were born than I think in the last 20 years. Grandparents are traveling to go see those grandbabies. They're traveling with those grandbabies. By the way, that's me too. My dad and mom went on that trip with me for the last 10 days. And so I just think this data makes a lot of sense. I don't think we're a whole lot different than what everybody is experiencing across the country. It's just more expensive to travel these days. And so we spend a little bit more money during the day to create the memory than we do to stay one more night. So we're doing a little bit more during the day, trying to cram it all in, rather than staying one more night. So again, I thought I would give some of that perspective, because I feel like this is me in a microcosm. So I appreciate it, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And Eddie, if you want to go ahead. Any other comments before we get started? Brian?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I would just like to introduce this is something different that we haven't previously been doing on an ongoing basis. I know late in the second half of last year, we kept you all very engaged in the development of our marketing strategy, what we're thinking, what our plan's going to be, and then finalizing the plan. But one of the things I want to make sure that we continue this year is giving you regular updates on, where are we at today, this month, where are we marketing to, and what's that progress. So just kind of teeing this up, this is new, and this is something that you'll see on don't know if it'll be a monthly basis yet or every other month, but just wanted to preference this.
Okay.
All right, I'll take it away. And I believe that Katie will plan to do a similar presentation next month. I'm expecting a child due February 1st, so I probably won't be here for the next TDC meeting, but we'll make sure that the hotel pipeline report is included again in the destination metrics, and we'll do everything that we can to address your guys' questions. So again, just kind of past 3 months, first fiscal year quarter highlights of what we've seen from digital and web. I apologize about this. There really is no magic when it comes to even digital marketing. And I guess the thing that was probably closest to being magic was third-party cookies, which essentially allowed us to follow behind someone in their user experience whenever they're browsing the internet. So we can see the places that they visited, we can see what they're interested in. For a long time, there had been concerns about the ability for us to collect this information and how it was done. Firefox, Safari, other internet browsers had done away with third-party cookie tracking, which is what I'm talking about. But Google Chrome maintained it and had maintained it up until this past year. And it was essentially almost the hinge of a lot of digital marketing. We sort of recognized that something like this was coming about 1.5 years ago. So we made quite a few investments in trying to work with our own first-party data, tap into a consortium that has a bunch of partners of data that bring that information together and helps us do cookieless solutions to this problem. So essentially, Google has started to deprecate this third-party cookie tracking to 1% of all its users. They own more than 63% of the browser market in the world. But by the end of this year, they're looking to entirely do away with it. So just kind of a note, but we are positioned probably better than almost any other DMO or most other advertising organizations, in that we've set up a system and are working with our partners at Miles Partnership and Adara Data Consortium to sort of address this issue. Jumping into, again, our sort of quarterly performance from a website perspective, in October through December, we saw 15% more users on our website. The thing I'm most excited about is we saw a 54% higher engagement rate. So not just users, but people who are actually visiting multiple pages of the website, staying on there for a while, tracking as sort of a qualified person who's engaging with our content. We also saw an increase in our organic traffic, as well as increases in things like our paid search. So we've really, we just continued to, with what we can do, become more efficient, and we're really glad to see that our investment in content that we've been putting in the past couple of years has really been paying off, and we're seeing website traffic just come to us because we have really great site authority established. On that note, we had over 12 million search impressions so people who search for something, we appeared in that search at least with one record, could have been multiple, 12 million times. That's without really any monetary investment of people coming to our website, generating over 214,000 clicks in just that first quarter alone. If you're looking at more of an apples to apples comparison, sometimes you think of click-through rate. That's a 1.75% click-through rate on that organic search. So this is some information that we're starting to see as Google has evolved its analytics platform, but just really great information for us to really monitor and keep track of. And like I said earlier, we saw a 236% increase in Canada web users, totaling more than 50,000 engaged sessions. So we do feel like there's strong interest. In terms of the top website origins by market, Florida is, of course, number one. Georgia, not far behind, but Ontario, New York, and Ohio kind of rounded out that top five. So we're not just seeing our drive markets as a viable website traffic source. We're seeing a lot of traffic from further away from our destination. Looking at the digital media side, we were able to track 29 million of our media impressions through Adara, which allows us to basically see, okay, we expose someone to an advertisement. Did they search for a hotel on one of Adara's partners? They have different hotels that they partner with to see their data. Did they book again? So we observed from that, from those impressions that we were able to track, 22,000 hotel searches and over 1,100 hotel bookings. That's the observed data, but if we take an estimate, which is essentially if Adara had access to every hotel room in our destination and deriving essentially the ratio of people who saw an ad and then later booked and sort of extrapolating that, we would estimate that our marketing probably reached people who, we had over 250,000 hotel searches and 12,000 hotel bookings that is estimated from that enriched guess. We've also put in some new creative, and again, we're trying to figure out always sort of that next step with our creative. So we integrated some QR codes into our streaming advertising to get people to engage and consume more content. We delivered nearly 3 million impressions through CTV advertising in the first quarter. And here's a video representation of what that ad looks like. We also have new creative where we are trying to really engage with the visitor and make full force of the content that we've been creating and developing these past few years. So this is an example of the content where people can choose what type of content they want to watch next. We've seen some great engagement from this advertising unit. But that's not the only creative that we've been refreshing and updating. We updated our Expedia display ads, our TripAdvisor display ads. We launched a microsite with Hopper, which is a mobile trip planning tool, and you can book direct through Hopper. We have been working with the NBC or Peacock. You saw the pause ad from a couple of slides ago. We've also been working on new mobile display ads, as well as content ads where we've skinned the look and feel of our destination around the content that they're talking about, and we've seen some great results from that as well. The thing I'm most excited about, and can't wait to share with you guys, is this Atlas Obscura podcast, which will be launching January 22nd, so next week. We featured the Whimsyland and the story behind Whimsyland to really tell a unique experience in our destination, and it was really a great fit with Atlas Obscura's audience. This is exactly the type of content that they're interested in. I think I have a clip ready, so let's see if we can
We love
listen.
each other and we love what we do, and what we do isn't work, really, because we have so much fun doing it. You know, it's definitely been a good life.
So the house kind of grew organically, like a living thing. As the years went by, Kiara, Linda, and Todd noticed something a little bit surprising. The wilder their house got, the more people seemed to like it.
As the house got brighter, the people got bolder that wanted to walk up and see what it was all about.
Today, not surprisingly, the house is a big hit on social media. On TikTok, influencers will frolic through the property, zooming in on mosaics and dancing under disco balls.
They're all TikToking and all Instagramming, and now they're like here immediately. They're on our yard and spend 3 hours at a time doing selfies and stuff. And some of the young ones lay down on the
Yeah, a lot of
on
people lay on the mosaic.
rainbow, the colorful brick road, and take, aerial shots, if you will.
So that's kind of an example. I'm really excited about this podcast. Atlas Obscura's podcast is one of, if not the top, the top one cycles, but in the top recommended podcasts of travel podcasts on Apple and iTunes. So really excited about that opportunity. And I also wanted to give a co-op update. We had a record-breaking number of partners participate in our co-op this past November and December. We have 32 confirmed partners, including accommodations, attractions, arts, events. We essentially have supplemented our marketing with this $240,000 invoice to partners. So they're helping us pay for some of these marketing efforts. And we still have opportunities that do remain available, so we'll be going back out to our partners to see if they have any more interest in some of our newsletter opportunities, as well as digital ads, and some print and arts and attractions opportunities as well. And that's the update for our marketing.
Okay, Mike, I know you have questions. Go ahead.
Eddie, thanks. Educate me here. On your more media updates slide, Cargo, Teeds, and Nativo.
Yeah.
What is that?
So they're different advertising partners that specialize in different things. Cargo and Teeds are strictly mobile-based advertising. And I had videos, screenshots prepared of them. Brian told me it was too much, so I had to cut it out. But they're interactive videos where it's actually wheels, where you can still interact with the different types of content. So we're always trying to get our people who we expose our ads to really engage with the ads more as a better metric of understanding advertising performance rather than site visits, as we've seen. We can get a lot of site visits if we just dump advertising into display ads, but those don't always get people to stick around and stay. So we really want to give people a unique proposition value at the ad where we can engage with them right away. So those are two of those units, and Nativo is a native content marketing advertiser that we've worked with now for a few different years. So essentially what that is there's recommended links and pieces of content that are on places like Fodor's Travel and other places. And instead of trying to get them away from the site, we are basically putting our content right on the site. So it looks like it's from Fodor's Travel, as you can see in this picture. But it's our content. It's content that we've reviewed and have put in what we want to put in there. And we've seen some, again, really great improvement and engagement rate with Nativo. It's something that we continue to see where we expose them to those ads, and later we see that it in the Adara data where they're booking rooms. So it's, again, another more of that middle funnel kind of tactic where we're actively trying to engage with the partner or person.
Thanks so much. Appreciate the lesson.
Okay, Russ?
I started out yesterday, I was cleaning off some shelves in our home office, and it's maps of Europe and some travel books and so forth that, yes, I did throw them out. But then later in the day, I got on my email from TripAdvisor, and it's saying, use this app. And what it says, new AI itinerary builder that is now an app. So you can do anything and go anywhere. Is that good or bad for us as a destination?
I think AI tools and I think it can only, if it's helping people plan their vacation, then there's got to be a way that it can help us, because really that's our goal too, is to provide people with information and inspiration to plan their vacation. I think that there's potential for AI tools to almost be an assistant when they're visiting a DMO website or elsewhere and helping them plan their vacation, but the content has to come from somewhere. So really, it still is about having the best content you can on the destination, having something that's interesting, that's really going to captivate and capture people's attention. And then, the AI tools is definitely something that we're paying close attention to and seeing if it's something that we can capitalize on, or if it's something that we need to be aware of, if it's going to change, for example, Google behavior. People are spending less time clicking on links from their Google searches, and that content's being provided more as an AI assistant within the search results. So, it's kind of a mixed bag in some aspects. Hopefully it's helping people get that information sooner, but it is taking away clicks from our website. So we have to readjust what things are important for us to measure in terms of whether or not we're being successful.
Copley, did you have a question?
I'm good, thank you, Chair.
Okay. Any other, Doreen?
Yes, following on TripAdvisor, there was something posted recently that St. Petersburg was number 2 about U.S. destinations, I guess. And that was I thought it was a very good article, vibrancy, restaurants, things to do, arts, culture, all of that, right?
Yes, we're very proud of that, and I don't know if Eddie knows the exact
Top trending destination.
trending
in the US,
destination.
Yeah.
But there was a little blurb that the one kind of a misnomer there was they included whale watching. St. Petersburg.
We've done some outreach already to get them to correct and make some updates on that article.
We will welcome anyone to the destination who's interested in whale watching.
Mayor, did you have a question?
Oh, I did. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm not sure I understand about this cookie business. It says Google Chrome removed the standard tracking tool to 1% of users in January. What does that mean exactly, 1%?
Yeah, so they essentially removed it to 1% of the people who are going online using Google Chrome and browsing the internet. So I would be honest, I don't know exactly how they're able to define what 1% of that audience is, and if it's a permanent 1%. But essentially, what they're doing is the third-party cookie tracking was how we were able to follow someone from a hotel website to a DMO website to another site on the internet, and basically being able to track them using third-party cooking. And now we're essentially, probably by next year, we won't be able to do that, reaching anyone. So Google has been this last holdout, and they have a huge portion of the internet browsing data. So it's fairly significant news for digital marketers. And there's not necessarily a direct solution in place, unfortunately. But we have been, trying to circumvent this issue.
I think it's actually great what they're doing for us.
Yeah.
Individually, we're not going to be haunted by everything that we looked up and
Right.
wanted to buy at Christmas. But from a advertising perspective, it looks to me like this is going to hurt us dramatically. I don't know. It seems like we're going to lose a little bit of, or a lot of our edge of whenever it comes to digital marketing. Would you agree with that?
I don't think we'll lose our edge. No, I mean, I think what we have done in light of it is pretty impressive. That we have basically found a way to still identify our audience and match them. It basically takes away a tool out of the toolbox, but it doesn't take the whole toolbox away. So, we do maybe have to get a little bit creative when normally we had spent some amount of marketing on a specific, and this is really for a more subset of our marketing through display marketing, where we're basically targeting people through a network of ad units. And we don't spend all of our budget kind of doing this form of marketing, but it does kind of change or could potentially change that in the future. So it's something that we'll have to monitor. And I also just kind of wanted to update you guys to let you know that we do have really a pretty advanced system in place ahead of this.
Okay. Do you anticipate any setback at all from this?
I don't know. There could be. It's possible, but again, I don't have a crystal ball. There could be a new solution that Google comes up with. Right. It's just.
All right. I'll leave you alone about that. I appreciate you answering my questions. Thank you.
Any other questions? Great job. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And then, Christine, I apologize. I put you off, but if you're ready, we got the St. Pete Shuffleboard Club. And again, I appreciate your patience and tolerance for me pushing you back a little bit.
Hi, I'm Christine Page. I'm the Executive Director of the St. Petersburg Shuffleboard Club, and thank you for having me. When someone suggested I asked if I could come speak, I jumped at the chance, not just to show you what we did with the World Tournament, but also just as any opportunity to thank Visit St. Pete Clearwater for their support. Visit St. Pete Clearwater really helped us. We're small, so they helped us with some of their work, some of their printing and some signage, and just being a sounding board for how can we make this event better. And it really did elevate our event, which in turn gave our players a much better experience than we could have offered just by ourselves, which in turn gives the players a great experience being in the Tampa Bay area. So, just a little background, the International Shuffleboard Association World Championships. The ISA was founded at our club in 1979, and its purpose is to grow shuffleboard around the world. They have an annual tournament in a different location every year. In 2022, it was in Canada. This year, it's in San Bernardino, Texas, and next year, it's in Germany. So we hosted it 10 years ago, and then last year. And we very badly wanted to host it last year to help kick off our centennial celebration, because we turn 100 next week. It took 2 years for us to plan it, and we had a committee, including some of our members, our staff, Visit St. Pete Clearwater, and the city of St. Petersburg. We did about over 1,000 hours of volunteer hours and staff hours getting ready at the club, just doing maintenance and painting and repairs and everything. And the week of the tournament itself, it was about 500 volunteer hours for the whole week. So for us, it's a very big event. there were 118 people that came to St. Pete for at least 6 days. A lot of the Europeans add on time, usually afterwards, and make a longer vacation out of it. There's one woman from Brazil, like 2 weeks later, I'm still seeing photos of like, you're still here, wow. We had 55 international visitors from Austria, Brazil, Canada, Germany, the Netherlands, Norway, and the UK, and then 59 players from around the US. It's about a $61,000 event for us to spend, and we tried to spend our money locally and choose a nice mom and pop restaurants for our lunches and everything we could do to put money back in to St. Pete. We also spent about $18,000 getting the courts ready, and about $28,000 in maintenance to get ready for it. So it is an international competition. They're very serious shuffleboard players. They see each other once a year. They have some rivalries. The Norwegians have great pants, as you can see.
Yeah, they do.
And they do this once a year, and it's really the only time every year that they come together and do this and compete. But what is great about our sport is, and what differentiates us from other sports, is how accessible it is for it's a multi-generational sport. So you'll have, I think our oldest player that week was 92, and our youngest was I think 28. So, and they just, the newer, younger players just absolutely love coming and playing against the older players who have been playing for 30 or 40 years. They learn so much. They're almost like celebrities in the international shuffleboard community. But not only did they played 5 days a week, so it was a lot of shuffleboard, but they also had a lot of fun off the courts. We wanted, of course, to showcase the area. They did a mural tour. They did a ghost tour because it was around Halloween. They took over the Hollander Pool for a week. You can see they love karaoke, so there's Olaf from Norway singing I Did It My Way to one of the Chicago players. And took them to the pier, did everything we can to get them out in the community. What's new this year from past years, there's been a group of volunteers who have done small live streaming for previous world tournaments, but this year they decided they wanted to do it instead of just the finals, they wanted to do it 5 days a week. So there was a lot more international coverage for us than a normal world tournament. So we did a pre and post game show. It wasn't really directly related to the club, didn't do this, but on behalf of the International Shuffleboard Association, they did this. They highlighted 2 games, Monday through Thursday, and they had it all streaming. They did a Bacardi shot of the day, interviews with players, some strategy videos every day, a history of the club, which is a really, really nice video, and then they live streamed the finals with the live pre and post game show. And I would show you a video, but I was one of the hosts, the pre-game show hosts, and I looked at the wrong camera about half the time, so we're not going to do that. Thank you to Visit St. Pete Clearwater for all the press we got. I knew exactly when the media outreach went out because all of a sudden I started getting calls and emails and spent the next 2 days on the phone. And then I had a friend who told me, I wake up at 5:30 in the morning, I turn on the local news, and the day the tournament started, there you were. And I got ready for work, and I got in my car, and I turned on the public radio station, and there you were. So we were everywhere this week, and it was great. So finally, I just wanted to say thank you to Visit St. Pete Clearwater, in particular, Andrea Perla and Mariah Kaler and Jason Peterson, Caleb Peterson, Jason Latimer, and of course Brian Womack, who spoke at our opening ceremony. So thank you very much. Oh. And finally, what's next? We have our annual fundraiser this weekend. It's a tweed ride, which you get dressed up in vintage clothes and take a bike ride around the city. And it's really a good time. It's fun. We turn 100 next Wednesday, so we're having a ceremony that day. We have the national tournament the next weekend, we have about 124 players. About half of them come from out of town. And then in March, that photo is from last year, all our players for our Mirror Lake Championship. And about half of those people come in from out of town, and particularly Brooklyn and Chicago. A lot of the younger players really, really love this tournament. So, thank you.
Great. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, Copley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Christine, good to see you again, twice in 2 weeks. I just wanted to say I was able to attend the opening ceremonies, and then I went over for a few minutes for one day of competition, and just what an amazing event. It's obviously, I'm a little biased because it's in the middle of downtown St. Petersburg, but I just thought it was just so well done to see all the people from around the world there in downtown St. Pete having, I would totally agree about the intergenerational, seeing the diversity of age and people across the lawn there in St. Pete was awesome. And just thank you for all you do over there. It was just really, really cool. And Brian and the rest of the team, thank you for helping put on what is a first-class event. And congratulations again, because I know we did a proclamation last week on 100 years. So
thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Mike.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Christine, I've lived in Pinellas County for over 30 years. Where have you been all my life? I had no idea.
You had no idea?
I had no idea that this was there. And what a wonderful, I mean, I'm just looking at the pictures here. Are you the largest shuffleboard club in the world?
We are the largest shuffleboard club in the world, and we are the oldest. So, and if you want to get a little nerdy, we really are, we like to think of ourselves as the Wimbledon of shuffleboard or the Indianapolis Motor Speedway of shuffleboard. All the rules were standardized there in the 20s, and Florida Association was founded there, the National Association was founded, international. We really are the most important place in the world for shuffleboard.
This is obviously a great venue. Madam Chair, Brian, I think about our historical associations that we have, and is there opportunities for us to really shout out to the world about this great venue that we have? I mean, we do so with Valspar, we do so with bowl games, other events that take place in the Tampa Bay area. Boy, what a great story to tell, and I don't think we're doing it anywhere near often enough.
Well, thank you. I would like to say that Visit St. Pete Clearwater has been a really fantastic partner over the past, 10, 15 years. We, a lot of times, are on their travel writer circuit, so they'll send travel writers to us on a Friday night, and we can showcase our Friday nights, and then I know they do the mural tours, and they do a lot of other things, but we've been so grateful for them putting us on that rotation, because I'd like to think that we help by showing a destination that is unique. There's no place like this in the world. It's very unique to St. Pete, and it's very quintessential St. Pete culture. So we're providing that, and then they are providing, giving us a lot more attention than we have the resources to on our own. It's been wonderful.
Mr. Williams, I will add to the list of folks who have lived here 35 years that have traveled off that exit and driven right by for years and years and years and had not attended it until the World Championship. And I said the same thing. I said, we got to do more to make sure folks know about this. In fact, at the end of this month, we'll be traveling up to the New York Shuffleboard Club. We've actually got, I wish we had them here today, we have yellow, and I'm going to probably call it the wrong name, but yellow pucks, discs, that have the St. Petersburg Shuffleboard Club logo and celebrating their 100th year anniversary. On one side, and on the other side is Visit St. Pete Clearwater logo. So we're going to be going up there to New York, another key market for us, and we're going to do our best to establish shout from the rooftops about the great club we have here and establish that club-to-club, hobby-to-hobby pipeline.
I would like to add that the Royal Palms in Brooklyn and in Chicago, they were actually based on us. I mean, they were inspired by us and our Friday nights and our community nights and everything, and that's why they was like, oh, we're going to build a shuffleboard club in the middle of Brooklyn. And So, and they have really cultivated a lot of the younger players up there who come down here and become members and love this place.
What happens on Friday nights there?
We started this back in 2005. So back in 2005, the club was down to about 35 members. It was in jeopardy the place did not look good. And a group of people decided, well, if we really want to make sure this place stays a gem in St. Pete, we should get the community involved in knowing about it. So they started a Friday night shuffle open to the community, and little by little, it's what was really caused this resurgence in shuffleboard and our club. So you can come and you can bring your family, you can play, you can bring your food and drinks, and it used to be free, but now it's $10 for non-members, it's free for members. And we have about, I don't know, but in the good weather, 150 to 250 people there playing at the same time. Sometimes we have all the courts filled and we have music happening. It's a lot of fun.
I love it. I love it. Might I suggest we have a TDC field trip
The council
in the
is doing
future?
one.
So I can tell you your shuffle worked. You reined my son and all his friends in, and they all are very active at the club. So any other questions? No, it really is a wonderful gem that we have in our community that is not celebrated enough. So, okay, great. Thank you so much for coming, and congratulations on all your good success. Brian, I think you're up next.
Thank you. And before I start on the update with the dune restoration, I do just want to take the opportunity. This is a great example of Visit St. Pete Clearwater Sports Department and the work that they do. I know personally, I came in and I said, well, okay, so when are we getting the next Super Bowl or Royal Rumble? Those don't happen every year. However, there are dozens and dozens and dozens, might I say hundreds of sports that our team's working with throughout the country to bring their event, their tournaments, and most importantly, their participants and spectators to the destination on a daily basis. And a lot of those sports you've probably never even heard of, and they've got a very active following here. So this is just a great example of that, and I want to take the opportunity to say that and commend our sports team for the work that they do. On to the dune restoration update. So last week, I believe it was Tuesday when that storm came through. Just wanted to report out, you may have read in the news, but minimal damage to the dunes, certainly nowhere near the extent of damage that those dunes saw from those storms in December. Right now, the Dunes project, they are working on those in the Indian Shores area, and then they will be complete with those. As far as the overall stalemate with the Corps and where we are with the county's activities on getting the Corps to change their policy, this month, the Army Corps is due to submit their report to Congress on the easement policy. And for those of you following along, the reason they have to submit that report is thanks to our members of Congress in 2022 when we really got engaged in this issue at the WRDA level and saw an opportunity to change policy. Our representatives and our senators included in that 2022 WRDA language that the Corps shall review their policy and present this report in advance. Why it's important that it's happening now is because they're about to get going on the WRDA 2024 legislation, which will be our opportunity to really tell the Corps from Congress to change that policy. And so we expect that this month. Additionally, staff continues to work with the Jacksonville office, specifically related to the Sunset Beach erosion, where that high water line mark is. So the issue on the Sand Key project is one with easements, but we know where that ECL is. However, on Sunset Beach, the issue that we've had is that project that line was established so many decades ago that they couldn't really tell us where that line is. So how do you ask for easements if you don't know where that line is? So staff is working with them to get that boundary, and they hope to have some sort of answer later this month. Additionally, at the state level, Representative Lindsey Cross, as well as Representative Kim Burfield, recently filed a House resolution basically urging the federal government, the Army Corps of Engineers, to pay attention to what's going on here and address this. And then last but not least, just as far as all the county's efforts, there are multiple different consultants, our federal team, they're all working on this. But one of the consultants right now is putting together kind of a smorgasbord of what our options are. If the Corps says no, defining what those options are, so that the Board of County Commissioners knows what levers they can pull should we need to. So that's kind of the holistic view of what's going on in the beach. And I know I pretty much just gave the update that the county administrator presented yesterday. So
just let me add one last thing, if that's okay. So the staff is doing everything that has to be done in preparation. So we, there are certain things we have to do design, we have to do all these things before we could do renourishment anyways. So the staff they've done a whole lot of the work already. They still have a little more to do, but when we finally have the ability to pull the trigger, all of that back work is being done. So once we're ready to pull the trigger, we're not having to wait for one more thing for permitting. I mean, we still have permit things we have to wait for, but we're doing all of the back work that has to be done so that, when we're able to pull the trigger, we can pull the trigger. And we're hopefully, we'll have resolution soon is our goal. Hopefully, we're praying for it. But just so you know, the staff is doing everything that they can do so that we're ready to go, and there should be no holdup when we're ready. Thanks. I'm sorry. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Brian, I'm still hearing multiple complaints up and down all of the beach communities that many people have lost complete access to the beach. Is the county planning on at least making a pathway so that they can get back on the beach?
I don't have an answer for you, but I suspect if the losing access is due to a dune being established there, and the question is, are we going to cut a path through the dune that was just constructed, I would go out on a limb and say no. I can't confirm that, but I'll certainly follow up with you on that.
I think the complaint is not that they're looking for a big wedge to be cut out of the dune. It's more of there's no not easily walked up and down. You get up over and then down. It's more of a straight up, straight down, and many people are complaining. I'm sure Doreen's heard the same thing. That we're truly grateful for what we've got, but people are going to complain if they can't get back on the beach.
So Barry did mention that there's some dunes that will be leveled off because they've been cut up so bad. We've also had the crossover bridges. The erosion has been so bad that some of those have to be closed because they can't get down to the sand. Those won't get reopened until we have a safety way. I mean, it's a safety issue. So some will be leveled, so that could fix some of the issues. But where the crossovers are and it's a safety issue, then we can't do anything until the safety issue is addressed. So some will get leveled because they have been eroded almost in half, and then they have great big giant drop-offs, and that also becomes a safety issue as well. So some of that will be remedied. I don't know if we're going to hit every one of them for every citizen that has a concern, but Barry did mention that yesterday.
Okay, and I would last I would like to know if you could find out if it's possible if the individual municipalities can do anything for the accesses once the county is completely finished with this project.
Okay, we can look into that for you.
Thank you very much.
So following, Dave, on your comments, unanswered questions. So you have private properties, private buildings that are blocked by the dunes and the access points are not available. The questions that we get as management is, well, okay, we've got a 50-unit building and our building is blocked and we're not foreseeing that we're going to have access the way we had it before. We can't get our guests to the beach. But you go down a block or you go to the next property that's city-owned or county-owned parkways like Upham Beach, and there are no dunes, and they have full access. So you have a dune in front of the private properties, but then the city-owned or the county-owned parks and beach access ways are totally open with no dunes. So there's not been an answer from the county as to, if we're not putting dunes in front of the public beach parks, what good does it do to have these dunes that are barriers? And now we've got whole properties that the complexion of what their guests have always had has changed dramatically and looks like that they're going to be permanently affected.
Yeah, so I don't know that I don't know that I can answer all of that. You know, and it could be engineering looks at where the erosion is and how often we have to prevent it. Is it going to be substantial in saving? Upham Beach is a great example on how often that is gone. But a lot of what's not realized, and people see the mound, and what they don't realize is that we have lost 6 feet of elevation of sand. And so once we can get renourishment back, we're going to have to raise the elevation of the beach back to where it was, which is like 5 or 6 feet. So those dunes that seem so high right now, once you have the elevation put back, they aren't going to be as high, because that elevation is, we haven't had nourishment in a very long time. And some properties are really, really at risk. I haven't been down to St. Pete Beach after this last one, but Sunset Beach is, I mean, when I went out there before we did the dune replacement, you know, it was frightening. And not only are we going to lose property buildings, but we're at risk of infrastructure and losing roads and disruption with sewers and things like that. So it's a serious issue. We know about that. But I think what a lot of people don't realize is how much elevation we have lost in sand. And so once beach renourishment comes back, that elevation is going to have to be replaced. And then things will get back to what we're used to. Because then even the dunes won't seem like they're giant mounds anymore. They're gonna be more like regular dunes. So so I think, you know, we're just hopeful that Congress is going to be successful with this process this year. And I can tell you, Senator Scott's office has been fabulous. And they call me every time they meet with Army Corps and kind of keep us updated. Senator Rubio, too, our Congresswoman, is doing really well. So, I mean, it's not like we're not working really hard to try and get this fixed. We really are. And now that it isn't just a Pinellas County issue, this is an issue now for the Carolinas. This is an issue now for beginning in the Northeast. Before it was just Pinellas County that was upset about this, and now we've got, I think, 13 counties in the state that are having the same problem. And so I think now that it's getting bigger, we certainly have support from the Association of Counties, the Florida Association of Counties. In a couple weeks, I'll be in Washington with the National Association of Counties, and we're requesting that they take this up as a priority nationally to try and get some more support on this. But, you know, we're working really, really hard, and we are determined to have a solution, whether Army Corps is with us or not. So hopefully by the end of February, early March, we'll have resolution with Army Corps. Phil. And I hope you don't mind that I'm calling by first names. If you'd rather I'm more formal, I'd be happy to change. It's just that I know you all, and I can't help it.
Mr. Phil. Did you have a chance to talk to Kelly on what we discussed, Ryan, about the sub dunes?
No, Mr. Phil, I apologize, I did not, but I'll get right back to you on that.
What that was, I suggest, why aren't we putting some sort of a substructure? That way, when we have a storm, either it be a jetty or what they used to use for T-gorings, which would be a big tube they'd fill sand. And we would lose the top part of the sand, but we'd have the base there and still protect the property. And then we want to renourish, we just got to come back in and kind of cover that up again. So I don't know why that's not being done. There's probably a reason, but it seems like it would be a better solution than continue to dump more sand, more sand, more sand.
Yeah, no, I agree. Again, we have to deal with Army Corps on that as well. But we are going to start the dredging in the Grand Canal. I don't think any of you have properties that are impacted by that, but over in the Terra Verde area, the Grand Canal is closing. And that takes you into the marina and the restaurant, the hotels that are back there. And because there's quiet title on all the private property, every grain of sand that dries extends their property line. So if it were to close, then it would be private property, wouldn't be able to open it. So it's a big deal, and it's taken us a long time to get, Army Corps and FDEP to let us get this done. So we'll be starting that dredging next month, and that sand that we pull out of there will be put on Paso Gro. So we did have an agreement with Army Corps that would become a natural sand trap and a sand source for us for renourishment. And then when Army Corps got a little upset with us, they yanked that ability away from us. So we're working with Army Corps to try and remedy our relationships and other things as well. So Paso Gro will be getting sand, a little more sand soon from that dredge. Chuck.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We, as a county, have done a nice job with our members of Congress to push this and get it in front of Army Corps. We have hired consultants to, as you said, define the options. But Lindsay Cross, Linda Cheney, and Kim Burfield, representatives in Tallahassee, filed what's called a House Memorial. Now, Madam Chair, as a past member of the House in Tallahassee, can you help us understand? I've never heard that term before, a House Memorial.
So I signed on to that to support it. It really doesn't. It's got no teeth, but what it does is it sends a message to Congress that the state is very concerned about this and that they're hoping that there can be resolution. So it's really a way to, on a state level, and it's bipartisan, let Congress know that this is critically important to the state legislature, that this be resolved. But there's really no teeth in it, but it just sends a message.
Because it has a House number attached to it, therefore I assume it takes a vote.
It does take a vote.
And the governor signs it?
Yes.
Just like a law?
It's really not like a law because it's a memorandum, but it's a unified, supportive position.
Thank you.
Any other questions? And I'm grateful that they did that, and I love that it was bipartisan, and because this is not a partisan issue. This is not at all. This is a safety issue and lots of issues. But any other discussions?
Just two.
Oh, wait, Brian, go ahead.
No, after the mayor.
Okay, Mayor.
I just had I wanted to add a comment to what Phil mentioned. You're referring to hardening our beaches. And I've spoken to Kelly about it many times, and her stance on this is that the Army Corps will only do the least invasive whenever they're nourishing our beaches. They don't want to do anything in the water. They don't want to bring in any rock. They don't want to do anything beyond what they're already doing. And the reason why is because they're following a plan that was approved by Congress to do the same thing over and over for years and years. Until that plan, until this project ends completely, I don't think that they have the authority to make any changes. Personally, I'd like to see the program revamped, ended, and restarted with a new design so that we could look into hardening. But I believe as long as the Army Corps is involved, they're always going to take that route, which is just to pump wet sand onto our beaches.
There's one other potential solution I thought of, and on the I talked to Kelly about it a little bit, but on the East Coast, there's a couple of passes, and it looks like there's a big, permanent pumping station there for sand. And I thought what they were doing was pumping it back where it came from. And she said, no, that's actually to pump it under the pass so it doesn't go in, and it has this natural migration then on down to the beach. But I thought, why can't we put a pumping station like that at the north end of Sand Key and one down near Johns Pass? The natural flow is it hits around Indian Rocks and Reddington, and it erodes there, and the sand moves north or south from there. And if we could have some, it costs a lot to do it, but that would mitigate a lot of expense later on to have an actual underground piping system with a pump station. And when the sand accumulated so much, they turn it on and push it back where it came from, and they just keep rotating around. And it wouldn't be having the dredging coming in and doing what they have to do. But I don't know how feasible that is.
Yeah, it sounds like good common sense. And I did pass legislation in the House that allowed to create such natural sand traps that would allow, so the inlets wouldn't get filled, because it's a real problem in our ports. And to dredge those ports, and so a lot of it is to keep the ports empty, and we had come up with a lot of solutions for that. It's just expediting them through Army Corps has been difficult.
That's what was done in Clearwater. The South Jetty was put out there, the tip of Sand Key before they put the jetty in. It wasn't very big at all. They put the jetty there to keep the sand from flowing into the bay, and now it's filled up. And now it's going around and coming into the bay. Yep. Same with the Johns Pass. I believe the North Jetty was put in there to protect and trap that sand from coming into the pass. Well, now it's filled up. Yeah. And now it's going around and doing the same thing to try to prevent. So, removing it and putting it back where it would be, where it was or where it came from would seem to be the solution.
Yeah, well, we're working on it. Hopefully we'll have resolution soon.
Phil, I did just confirm with Kelly that we were not allowed to do those sandbags underneath the dunes. So, as far as the legislative update, as many of you know, you're active in your associations, whether it's FRLA or a different association. Session did start in Tallahassee last week, and there are a number of bills, approximately 9, that impact what we do here in tourism, and specifically the statute that speaks to the tourist development tax. And many of those are House, Senate, companion bills, and many of them are specific to certain counties, counties of critical concern and or Miami-Dade County. So I didn't want to get into any of those, but I just wanted to give you a heads up on one in particular, which is the limited single entity restriction. That's Senate Bill 1748 and House Bill 1599. And essentially what this bill does is says you cannot spend more than 25% of your TDT on one project without certain approval. And so just want to bring that to your attention when you think of large-scale projects and using the TDT for it. Perfect timing. We're talking about beach nourishment right now. So anything that can impact beach nourishment, I just wanted to put on your radar. One of the themes that we've seen with it's nothing new, but a number of these bills this year speak to allocating at least 50% of that TDT to the cities, the individual cities. And so additionally, it would increase the projects that the TDT can be spent on. So just wanted to put that on your radar. I know many of you be up in Tallahassee at FRLA Legislative Day, I believe on February 1st. I'll be up there with Destination Florida on January 31st. You're the next week, okay. So if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. And then last but not least, I wanted to introduce a new face, a new member of the Visit St. Pete Clearwater team. I'd like to introduce Katie Brunk, who comes to our sports department. She is a business development manager. And Katie, we're happy to have you. And if you can get across that rope, we'd love for you to step up to the mic and say hello.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Katie Brunk. I recently rejoined Visit St. Pete Clearwater. I was with them for about 4 years, a few years back. Changed directions in my career, loved it so much, had the opportunity to come back. Born and raised here in Pinellas County, born right here at Morton Plant down the street. Grew up as an athlete, played at St. Pete College, graduated from the University of Tampa, sports management. So very excited to be back. I see a lot of familiar faces, a lot of new faces, but looking forward to working with you all.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, we're on to board member comments and discussions. Anybody have any comments or discussions you want to follow up on? Okay, well, I have one that's going to generate some conversation. So it's been brought to my attention that Mayor Bujalski had the wonderful opportunity to take on a new career role as president of the chamber. And we fund that chamber, the Dunedin Chamber. And so, although I've talked to Amanda and she said that the law says, you can probably state it better than I do, the law states that if you are within 501c3, it's not a conflict if you're getting money. But I think the optics of it, because she's going to be the president and CEO, and so the money that goes to that organization, she's in charge of, and so there's some optics of it looking like there's a conflict of interest. Now, she's termed out at the in the fall, but the question is, do any of you feel that that is a conflict or the optics wouldn't look right if she stayed on the board while she has that position? And so I'm looking for feedback. I know where my thoughts are, but I really was looking for feedback from this board, from your thoughts. Anybody?
I don't see, I see where it could be perceived, but knowing her personally, I don't think that would be a problem.
Okay. Russ?
I agree with Phil, but the chamber is still a contractor, basically, to fulfill what we need to improve in tourism and to take care of those things. And I think that I would have no problem doing it and keeping her on too.
Okay. And Brian?
Yeah, I would agree. As long as there's no increase in what we are contracted to do with them, and it's business as usual, I see no issue with it.
Okay.
Madam Chair, would there be a, will she resign as mayor to take this role?
That I don't know. That's my only concern is the TDC and her. I'm not.
Okay. And the reason I ask is, certainly Mayor Bujalski has been a great contributor to the TDC for a good number of years. If her replacement, does her replacement get a seat on the TDC by virtue of that office? No.
She represents the a list of cities.
The mayor's council.
Mayor's council, okay. And so if this board thought that it was a conflict, then the mayor's council would assign another mayor to sit in that position until her term is up in October. So September would be her last meeting. So that would be the procedure if that, but I'm not hearing that there's consensus that you perceive a conflict, so.
No, not at all.
Okay, Mayor.
When she shared that with me, we were talking about spring training and the mayor's challenge with the Phillies and Blue Jays. She had no intention of resigning if she took this position with the chamber.
Okay.
So she will be there until September, until she's termed out, is what she shared with me.
Oh, here on the TDC? Yes. That's her
Well,
intention?
and
Okay.
as mayor, she's not going to resign as mayor.
Oh, as mayor, oh, okay. Well,
She's not going to resign.
any other thoughts? Clyde, did you have a thought?
Well, that changes my thoughts somewhat. I think it's not Mayor Bujalski. I think the precedent of having a chamber president on the TDC is, it could be precedent towards future in other chambers, but if she's still the mayor, I think that somewhat resolves that. And I don't
Yeah.
think she's running for mayor again. I think she's termed out, if I recall from the article. I could be wrong there.
No, she'd be termed out from this committee in the fall.
Okay.
Okay. Like I said, her role as mayor is not that's not my, the question was here. And so, yeah, she represents the mayor's council. So it's not her position as the chamber president that she's here serving. It's in her role as mayor, representing the mayor's council. So during,
So just, I shared with some thoughts with Amanda at the last meeting, a little history. Having been on the TDC back in 2004 to 2012, at that time, I actually was the longest serving member of the board of directors of the Tampa Bay Beaches Chamber. And of course, I've worked closely with Robin Miller, but we could be on the TDC and be a board member of the chamber. Then there was legal opinion at that point in time that changed that. So Tony Satterfield, as a TDC member, hotelier representative, he had to step off the board of the Tampa Bay Beaches Chamber. I also had to leave the board when I came on this go-round a couple of years ago. And that's not necessarily the legal interpretation now, but again, it was the optics of the chamber, or the legal theory at that point in time was that the chamber is receiving funds directly from VSPC through, the TDC funding. So they felt that it wasn't a good fit. So I just shared that bit of history. Maybe the interpretation has changed, but I think more importantly, we all may be comfortable with that, but what would be the optics? What about the other chambers? What about the communities overall? That's the only
and
question
she's
I have.
not a board member, she's the president and CEO, which is that's a whole different, and my opinion is, to me, I see that as a conflict. And it has nothing against her. I think she is wonderful. I think she's been a great mayor. I think she does a great for the community. It's just that role, and so that I just wanted to bring it to you and have this conversation. And it's a tough conversation, but if we've had other board members that have had to resign from chambers boards, not even the CEO, then we've kind of had a precedent in the past that this isn't something that we considered to be, not a conflict. So, Mike.
Madam Chair, I'm going to sound like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here, having said that I don't see a conflict, but, on Doreen's comment and on Clyde's comment, I had to resign as a member of the Palm Harbor Chamber when I was appointed to the TDC.
Okay.
That has been the precedent in recent years. So optically, it probably puts us in harm's way.
Well, and clearly we have a precedence. So that's 3 members so far that you've mentioned that have had to resign from the chamber board position. And again, this is the president CEO position, which is very different than a board position. So, Clyde, I see your light, and Copley, your light. Did you have a conversation? Did you want to, Copley?
I think mine's just been on.
Yours just been on.
Mine's just that I had to resign from 2 boards when I joined the TDC.
Okay.
2 separate boards.
So, Amanda, did you want to chime in? I don't mind.
I'm going to, before you speak, if I may, I'm going to reverse myself also. I didn't understand that she was going to be the CEO also when that question was asked.
I just wanted to clarify that there are, when you're looking at conflicts of interest for officials, including appointed officials and elected officials, the facts of each situation are extremely important in doing that statutory analysis about whether a conflict actually exists. There are exceptions to employment conflicts for elected officials that do not apply to appointed board officials who aren't also elected officials. And this particular scenario falls into that fact pattern. And ultimately, we have to look at everyone individually. So I just wanted to clarify that this isn't a change in the legal analysis from our office, but it is a change in a fact pattern. So I just wanted to make sure that that was clear, but if there's any specific potential conflicts that anyone has questions about, I'm always happy to go through the statute bit by bit and analyze it with you guys.
Yeah, and I know you and I talked about that, but her elected position is different. It's not an elected position as the president and CEO of the chamber. And so to me, that in my opinion, that's different. And so, I had not realized that board members of the Tampa Bay Chamber had to, I did not realize that. This was just something that I thought And I can tell you, as an elected official, I sit on a hospital board, and I've been told, even though there isn't going to be a money transaction with the hospital that I sit on their board, but we're going to have a contract and provide substance abuse services in their ER, and because of that, I have to resign. And there's not even a money transaction. There's no money. And so, to me, if I have to resign from the hospital board, it's kind of the same thing. So, I have concerns about it. I wanted to have a conversation about it. I wanted to know if there's consensus. Granted, the BCC is the one that makes the appointments. The Mayor's Council makes the recommendation. The BCC makes the appointment. But if it's the recommendation from you that you feel that the optics of this, that we should go to the Mayor's Council and maybe have a different mayor finish her term, just till October 1, then that's what I'll do. If there isn't consensus, then we won't.
I think that's the prudent approach to take.
Well, I'm looking to you guys, how you all feel about it. I'm seeing some change of heart, but I don't know if I've got consensus. Phil, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to wobble and flop myself because of the optics and because of what's been brought up here since I made my comment. I do like Mayor Bujalski, but I don't think it's a good idea to keep her on in that position given what we've talked about here. Also, as a side note, I have served on the Clearwater Jazz Holiday Board, but when all this came up years ago about being conflicts, I was told that as long as I wasn't a voting member of the board, I could be an advisor, but I don't have any voting power. I can advise them on what my opinion is, but I'm not actually going to be able to vote on anything that happens in the board room. So that was perceived to be okay since I wasn't really in control of anything.
Okay.
So I'm still an advisor. I don't rarely go to meetings. They call me on different things just to get my opinion on stuff, but I'm certainly not there voting, but I remain on that board as an advisor.
Okay. So you had to resign as a voting member on that one because you received money?
Correct, yeah.
Chuck?
Incidentally, they asked me, they said, well, you can be advisor to the executive committee too then. So I guess as long as I don't vote.
As long as you don't vote, yeah, okay.
I think we've gone around the horn to hear the pros and cons. I think we all agree. Mayor Bujalski has been a fantastic member of the TDC over these years. The years I've been on it, she points out things that a lot of times many of us don't see. So I've always valued her input, not necessarily always agreeing with it, but I always valued it. But seeing everyone's comments around the table and the precedent discussions that we just had, if it's appropriate, Madam Chair, I'd make a motion that we ask the Mayor's Council to appoint a new member.
Second.
Second. Okay. Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor? Mayor, aye? Aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, then that's unanimous. So we'll reach out to the Mayor's Council and ask them for a recommend. Now, the Mayor's Council does not meet as often. So let me look into the, they used to meet monthly, now they're only meeting 3 times a year plus a Christmas thing, and they just met. So let me reach out to who is the chair, do you know? Joe Ayub, okay. I'll reach out to Joe and see if there's something we can do to try and expedite it, because I hate to not have that position filled. So let me reach out to Mayor Ayub and find out what we can do to get a recommendation swiftly. Okay. Any other comments or discussion for the good of the? Seeing none, then I would adjourn. Okay. Thank you all. It was wonderful to see you. Happy New Year to everybody.